welcome back. It was a regular, nothing weird happening, no 3 Elder Drakes, game 1. My name is once again Carries with me is Yulway. We have game 2 of GAM taking on Vikings. Now, before we do any analysis, I just want to pull up. We didn't get to do it before the first game, but we haven't changed them. So let's pull up what our predictions were. Because one of us...
course you want them now. What a surprise.
Hey, my prediction's been changed! I said 3-0! I've been hinted! Production!
Our producer can't even believe you would predict something so ridiculous. So,
but
there
you did to be fair, you did predict 3-1 for Vikings. So tell me how they're going to bounce it back in the next 3.
Well, it's actually quite easy to see after this first game. You saw them lose an early game, which they don't usually do, because they are by far the best early game team, and they still made it really, really hard for GAM to win. So now imagine if they are 2k gold up, the game is going to end at 25 minutes. So I think I rest my case. Easy clap.
Fair enough. Now, I'll come in and I'll reiterate something I said during the cast, which is Aurora needs to be banned. So we will have to have a look at the draft from game 1, and we can pick it apart and see what both teams need to be doing. I think if you're a Vikings fan, you want to see Aurora hit the ban list and you want to see Guri get Zyra.
Exactly. So those AP jungler bans, especially in phase 2, after Vikings refused to pick their AP jungler early, those really won the game, in my opinion. The Zyra first pick, or first rotation, and Lilia Brand ban. Those are the crucial parts of the ban list that we need to look at again. They also had Maokai banned on the others in the first 3, so 3 AP junglers gone. I don't think Guri really plays Ivern. It doesn't really fit his style, and Ivern hasn't ever been a popular champion in VCS. You just don't kill enough. So I'm not sure if he can play AP Shyvana. That would be actually quite interesting to see him first pick AP Shyvana away from Levi. But they banned it on blue side, so probably not. So yeah, I think that is definitely the one area where we have to look the hardest. I agree with you, Aurora should probably be banned as well. But it's, in my opinion, second priority. First priority is definitely the jungle position.
Yeah, I agree. I also don't really want to see the cannon again. Really don't think that let Nunaway shine. The champion just has so many problems. It's just... The AP part was good. They did need an AP pick, but cannon just struggles in modern League of Legends, in my opinion. You need such excellent vision control and excellent flank TPs. That's very, very difficult to manage in the VCS. Looking at it from GAM's point of view, though, if they want to lock up a 2-0, what do we want to see them potentially adapting to make it not a 3 Elder game?
So I really like their approach to bot lane, because I think bot lane is definitely the area where Vikings can completely stomp them to the ground if they get the correct matchup. So once again, focus on getting an easy bot lane matchup where it's just scaling or just farming easy love against Shogun. Possibly with Ziggs again, because even though Shogun's Ziggs was okay, it didn't really do anything wrong, it's not the thing we expect Shogun to do, right? It's not. He's not gonna dominate team fights like he can do on Aphelios and Ezreal this season, especially. So I like the Ezreal first pick. I think that's definitely something they can look at again. To make it a little bit easier for them to win team fights, I think maybe if Aurora is banned anyway, give Kiaya a little bit more split push and side or like engage agency. Something like Jax comes to mind, something like Camille comes to mind, where he can still win lane and still dominate the game, but maybe do a little bit more in team fights than just sit back and wait for the perfect opportunity on Aurora. He did play the Aurora well, but just to make it a little bit more streamlined from the side of GAM, I think that could be an option. And if Levi doesn't get his AP junglers, then maybe he can go back to one of his engage champions, maybe a Lee Sin to playmake, maybe a Vi to engage. So I think the engage is probably going to come from top side a little bit more this time.
Yeah, I do. I think I agree. Someone else I do want to give credit to is actually Easy Love. He wasn't part of the super flashy combos for GAM, but he was very consistent on the Ezreal, outside of maybe one incident that we don't need to talk about. but he was very, very good at pressuring the backline of Vikings with those Qs. Really good stuff. I think Easy Love Shogun needs to be the better ADC. Like if Shogun isn't just clearly the best ADC on the Rift, Vikings is in a lot of trouble, and we do have a draft ready, so let's head straight on in.
Yeah, and one last point on the Easy Love Shogun point. There's Easy Love is actually this was the first game Easy Love played against Vikings this season, because both of the best of threes, GAM played Neo, their second AD carry. Their younger AD carry, but they went back to Easy Love in playoffs, and yeah, it seems to be working. But this is already a great adaptation. Thank you, Hankei. You know how to draft. I like to see that. First pick Zyra, Guri's best champion. He absolutely dominated whatever round is called before this, the last playoffs round, with the Zyra early game rotations. We already saw Levi play a really nice Zyra game, especially when it comes to early game rotations, so now it's on Guri to repeat that performance.
That said, picking up Corki and Ezreal so strong already, that AD poke, very, very difficult to do much about. Corki is going to be able to slam rockets through those plants. Ezreal able to snipe the plants from long range, making Guri's objective control just that bit harder, as Serity locked in and it's tanks being thought about by Vikings.
Yeah, there's a few different options. Graga's top lane, not my favorite harvest so far. I think Renekton here is probably quite nice. Okay, Renekton can struggle to get on top of Ezreal or Corki, but still provides a strong early lane, can even play through Zyra Renekton double stun. Now it's gonna be Gnar. Gnar is a little risky as a blind pick. There could be some Kiaya magic happening. Now, he's not Hasmid, he's not... who else would play the Yasuo in VCS? But maybe... yeah, so he's not gonna bust the Yasuo, but he can still counterpick with some very strong laner and maybe make Nana, who is live, really difficult again. But first we see Levi Lilia. This is actually a champion that has quite a bit of history with Levi, because when Lilia came out in 2020, when she was super broken, the old Lilia, Levi kind of refused to play her, and he lost championships because of that, because Ego Lilia dominated his GAM team and won the championships in 2020. So Levi finally learned how to play this, one of our favorite champions, maybe my favorite champion ever, and let's see how he performs here against Zyra.
Yeah, 100%. I still remember this Levi saying, I don't like the champion, and losing a split for it. Not the greatest moment of his career. Ziggs has been taken away. Shogun having to show something else this game. Of course, could still be playing Zeri bot, though I think we're leaning towards that being mid. Camille away from Kiaya as well. Jax could be the second ban when we go back to Vikings, sort of removing those obvious engage bruises rather than engage tanks.
I really disagree with the Ziggs ban. I think even if meta-wise, Ziggs might be the best ban here. In terms of matchups, individual matchups for the players, forcing Shogun on a stronger carry champion, especially when it comes to late game hyper carrying, is probably a losing play for the side of GAM. So I really disagree with this Ziggs ban. Probably gonna see something like I don't know, actually. There's so many ADC bans. We could see an MF for Shogun. He could reach deep and even go for a Caitlyn, potentially. As here is one of the dominant top lane champions that can really kill Gnar over and over again and generate a huge advantage. TF, top lane TF for Kiaya.
Yeah, I think the one thing I'm noticing is
Senna. Yeah, and Shogun's not going to play the Senna, by the way. I looked at the stats, and this was something I noticed over and over again. Shogun does not play the Senna in these Senna lanes. Shogun actually plays the ADC, the farming champion, and B plays the Senna. At least that's what they've been doing in VCS Summer Split so far. They haven't played a Senna in playoffs, if I saw that correctly. So let's see how they deal with this matchup this time around. But I'm pretty convinced that B is going to be the Senna player here.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me at all. Always just a fun quirk of Shogun is that he plays some weird champions. Look, he came up with Taki. Sometimes you got to get used to playing strange lanes, strange picks. and having strange picks alongside you. Yeah, they're not swapping at the moment, so it looks like Shogun will be playing the Nautilus half of this Senna Nautilus duo.
Yeah, and get ready for the best Nautilus mechanics you have ever seen. Because this is an actual world-class ADC playing Nautilus, so I'm ready for some crazy auto cancels. Let's see what he can do.
I can't wait. ADC players actually have mechanics that engaged supports haven't even dreamed of.
This is so weird. Why does he not play?
It's so strange. It is so strange, but you've always been such a big aficionado of this Senna. What do you think about it in this composition?
Yeah, it's actually Senna against Lilia, my two favorite champions fighting it out here on the Rift today.
No!
Well, Senna into Ezreal, in my opinion, always used to be one of the harder matchups for Senna, because the trading is kind of, it's really difficult to trade, and Ezreal can kind of chase her down if she oversteps. So maybe not the easiest lane matchup on the bot side. In terms of late game, we have Senna and Zyra together, and that already spells amazing late game counter engage kind of setup, right? Especially something like Lilia is gonna struggle into Senna and not even Nautilus, but then also Zyra. So I think this Lilia pick could be really, really difficult to play later on in the game for Levi, who already is maybe not the greatest Lilia player. So I feel like there's a slight advantage compositionally for Vikings.
Yeah, Elio making a strong move into enemy jungle early on. It is confirmed Shogun playing Nautilus. One of the best ADCs in Vietnam will be bringing us Nautilus. Love to see it.
Yeah.
But I think a champion we need to talk about is actually this Twisted Fate. Because I agree with everything you're saying. Compositionally, it might be hard for GAM to interface with Vikings, but who is stopping this TF in the side lane? Shogun? Just takes a little bit of a whack.
Yeah, I think when you play Nautilus as an ADC, you just like to get hit a bit, because you can't ever get hit as an ADC, but as Nautilus, you just laugh at them, and you're like, ha! You took 50 HP of me, XD. Let's look at Carti. Zeri, by the way, undefeated this year, or at least this split in summer on Zeri. This is his 4th game. 2 times he played it in playoffs already, and once he played it in the regular split. There's a big invade.
Big
Levi
biffo going on. Elio going in. Shogun having to flash away, but he is on no HP. And Easy Love will follow. Dodges 1 Q. He's just got to keep dodging. Just keep dodging until he spider doors. Okay. B is winning the fight with Elio. Can get to him. Land a Q. And Shogun, look, he's an ADC. He's got the mechanic. What the hell did B just do?
He thought he had heal.
But he pressed his flash. You don't change where your flash is. Only psychopaths change where their flash is.
Yeah, very confusing one. Not entirely sure what that was about for B. But whatever. Shogun is back in lane because he has TP. And this is probably advantageous for Levi. Let's actually look at how the clearing goes. Did he steal the whole camp? It looks like Zyra is going for an early... Oh, she got the red buff very far away, and now she's already... Oh, nice E from Easelove. Guri, can he find them? He doesn't have E. He can't even stun them. He doesn't have E.
Yeah, he's just stepping up to try and steal away a blue buff. This does set up a potential 3 buff. Early prio, Senna able to roam to make this faster.
Unfortunately, top lane does not have prio right now for Vikings. Otherwise, they could maybe even counteract the top invade from Levi. But this just looks like a map split. Yeah, looks like bot side focus for Vikings. And surprise, surprise, in shocking news, top side focus for GAM.
And something I just want to point out, B following Guri on the invade, getting those free souls, and then coming back to the lane as Shogun is starting to farm, just getting, 1.25 the soul income.
I mean, if you manage to time everything optimally, yes. But in actuality, most of the time you trade souls from jungle camps for souls on the map.
Well,
so
I think they actually traded it. They timed it pretty well.
Hopefully. Now
Levi could be in trouble. Guri's already thrown the E though, so he will be able to get away with that.
He walked into the slow zone. That was quite risky. if the enemy team had a little bit more backup, walking into the slow plant was could have been his death. But yeah, this way he just walks out, contests, and Levi looks like... Oh, very close, but Levi gets the
Let's
grab.
get the smite. Levi may be forced to flash here. In fact, will be forced to flash. Guri
really?
with no investment. Yeah, Nunaway was coming down and Kiai wasn't in position to respond, so I think he did need to flash.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe. I think he could have tried to fight back, maybe. I think he was a little too intimidated by Nanahue, especially considering Kiai has full HP. But yeah, better safe than sorry. I think I remember an instance where Levi tried to W over the wall on Lilia. So,
I do remember that.
Luckily, he did not try to do that this time around, because otherwise I think we might have to have closed the stream.
Yep, back into hibernation immediately. Just no, thank you. Nunaway has managed to make this wave bounce. Needs to try and fix it though. This is setting up to be a pretty nasty lane position for him. Has Meganard potentially to a Twisted Fate. B, hello.
What? That's a classic B move. Remember the time where he roamed on Yumi
top
and won
on
the game
Yumi?
with the top room? Yep.
Levi is here, but this has taken any source out of an actual top lane play. You're not going to go into B.
Oh man, he's on his game on Senna. That was some really nice movement there, juggling tower aggro and range. And look at Shogun, super comfortable in bot lane. He's just sitting there farming like a top laner. This is going to give him a little bit of extra experience, but Islaf at the same time gets a little bit of extra experience. In this case, it's probably advantageous for Vikings because, as we saw in the last game, experience on Alistar is actually quite valuable. His ultimate value goes up from like 50% to I think 70 or 80% damage reduction. So getting him to higher levels in the late game team fights is quite a big jump.
Yeah, and it also does give priority over towards these grubs, as B is just still laning.
They're coming though. It's a big scuffle in the river.
Yeah, it is, but Guri is able to kite back towards his team. Levi has taken away one grub. GAM do have two here that I don't think Vikings have any idea about. B had no clue. Taken down immediately, but they trade back onto Levi. The Twisted Fate will be able to join the fight. Elio, though, just going to be traded out. Terrible wallop there, but Cardi should be able to clean the kill up regardless. And Vikings do get two.
Okay, we need to replay. I completely got lost in the source there. Why did they end up winning this fight? I guess Zyra just too OP. This is really nice from Guri, forcing Emi to take an even longer way back into lane. Big advantage to Karti. And as I said before, Karti unbeaten on this Zeri champion. Okay, he doesn't have the biggest amount of games.
He's just laning top.
Yep. And I mean, after first game, can you fault him? Like, his top laner was inting, so...
This is bizarre.
I actually really like it because it counteracts the counter-pick strategy from GAM. They try to invest, but let's look at this again. They instantly jump on B, but look at the other side. Levi gets caught in Guri's stun, and Guri walks away with almost full HP, even though Elio was on top of him. So, in the end, it's actually Levi and Elio's positioning that cost them the fight. And the superior terrain setup, I'd say, from champs like Zyra and Gnar, kind of ensured that they would win this fight, even though their Senna insta-died at the start.
Really a bizarre start. I feel like I've said that word too many times already. I'm just a little bit flabbergasted. But it has worked out for Vikings. I agree with you. This does counteract the counter pick. It's not like Shogun needs a support. He's against an Ezreal. He's just farming. He's actually got a bit of a CS lead.
Of course he does.
It's going to become a little bit dangerous. You know, Ezreal is going to outscale Nautilus. Controversial, I know. But I mean, this is likely not what's going to happen
doesn't
anyway.
Really matter.
That's true, exactly, yeah.
Now we have GAM with the counter move, so they now try to lane swap, kind of half lane swap, weirdly, whatever you might call this. Now Elio's top lane, Nanahue is in his tiny form, and there's a gank coming from Levi. Oh my god, Nano,
he hops into it, flashes away, but the chain is still there. Nanahue, embarrassing stuff, cleaned out.
You just had to dodge the E. Come on.
He flashed into it.
One job.
But on the other side, Vikings do pick themselves up a dragon. And what's stronger, a Gnar or a dragon?
I mean, yeah, you can say that on the other side, but at the same time, that should have been a dragon for free.
In trouble, ignited, knocked up, a lot of damage coming in. Terrible hook from Shogun, but it doesn't matter.
Guri, you need to
Guri!
Oh my
God!
Oh my word! The beans.
The beans have left the pocket.
A little bit of an embarrassment on both sides of the map from Vikings. This is one of those plays where, as a coach, you sit back and you're like, well, they did everything as exactly as I told them, and in theory it was a good play, but unfortunately they completely lost their ability to move their mouses, so they lost the play.
Let's have do we have to have a replay? Oh.
Yeah. Slow down, please. Slow this down. Look at Guri. Can he hit a single spell to secure this one kill? Nope.
Miss?
Nope. Still hasn't. Nope. Nope.
He hit the ult. Oh my! If you're a coach and you're in the press conference, what went wrong out there, coach? You just gesture vaguely at that. Like, what do you want? But regardless of how silly it might look, Vikings are still about 700 gold up. They might be a little bit sheepish, but definitely not too sad with how it's going.
Yeah, if this is an early game in the split, you're like, oh, it's process, not outcome. This is actually a really good play. We just fumbled it mechanically. Unfortunately, this is already summer playoffs, so it's really outcome. So hopefully they can still win this game and move on, even after that horrific sequence of events. It's how many grubs do they have now? It's the second. Okay, they can get up to 5 grubs. That's a lot of pushing power, and well, they don't really have the greatest side lane split pushing, and it looks like they can only secure 4. So GAM. 4
is still the first grublet.
Yep.
So that's okay. There's a lot of damage. They're actually committing a TP as well. Levi rushing over to try and take the grub, but Guri has the ult. Guri has the secure, and Levi has to flash away.
By the way, this might be the most broken jungle camp to follow for Senna, because I think every single grub spawns 2 souls. So she really wants to be there for every single grub that's taken. She got a lot of souls. Let's see. What's the count? Do we have a count somewhere here?
I don't think we have one on the UI. We're going to have to wait for it to get clicked on.
Yeah, it's probably around 25. Maybe 35. I would guess. 11 minutes in. She was roaming a lot and got a lot of jungle camps. So should be a decent number.
Should be, as this Twisted Fate pick has not worked out. I feel like this was meant to dominate the lane. Of course, not expecting B to just be in the top lane, but Gnar picking up 3 tower plates and maintaining reasonably even CS. Bit of a disaster for Kiaya.
Yeah, this is just a strategic win from Vikings as a team. This is not a win from Nanahue. This is a win from Hanke and his team, and especially B, because they just didn't let Kiaya lane. They saw the first game, they saw 2 solo kills and an early investment from Levi, and they said, well, we don't want to lose to Kiaya again, so let's just not lane against Kiaya fairly.
Yeah. Exactly. Warmogs has been secured for Shogun. Now
this health buff for a level 9 champion is not okay, by the way.
That's complete. Warmogs, what have they done? Insane item at the moment. More souls swept up on 43. 44.
Yeah.
How's that for 13 minutes?
That is really good. That is really decent, especially considering how much he moved around on the map. Now, he's gonna slow down a bit because laning phase is kind of over, so you can't get to 120, which is kind of the dream scenario if you lane against a weaker lane. So he's probably gonna be stuck at like 70. But considering how little they've laned 2v2...
they've got a bit of a fight here against Emo. A lot of point and click CC. Center ult comes down to guarantee an assist, and Carty gets a kill.
Yeah, and I mean, Shogun can do this for ages. Mm-hmm. Because look at his HP bar. He can tank 5, 6 tower shots probably. So he's going to be a menace. He's going to turn into Twitch. and just gank side lanes over and over again, because he's on 128 CS, and honestly, does Nautilus even need to pick up a single CS the whole rest of the game? Probably not,
really.
right? So,
look, all I'm saying, the only League streamer I watch is Lolo, so he needs to build a Ramadans. Just saying.
oh god.
Need to get that AP Nautilus going. As it looks like it will be a Dragon for Herald trade. No real way for Vikings to get in on that. They do have Nanaway in the Mega Narb. Fairly threatening, but without Guri there. They're not... I genuinely thought that Rock stole it. Oh my word.
It was exactly the time the Dragon went down.
Oh, a lovely hook from Shogun onto Easy Love. No real follow-up, so the Ez will just get away. But Shogun showing that he really does have the mechanics.
Yeah, the crazy Nautilus mechanics. Unfortunately, he didn't have ultimate because he already killed someone on the other side of the map, so this time Easy Love gets to walk away. But look at Vikings macro. I'm really genuinely impressed with how well they're playing the map. They would completely destroy Fnatic in mid-game after looking at this game, because look at their objectives. They've secured 5 grubs, they've secured 2 dragons, they now got the mid tower, they got counterpick in top lane, but actually even in lane, even though their player is vastly inferior in terms of just pure 1v1 skills. So this is a very, very impressive and very promising game for Vikings.
It is. Levi still farming up in Storm though, is able to keep up in CS numbers with Guri, which of course when playing that Zyra is fairly impressive. Nanaway, good moves. Just playing very defensive, don't need to give anything away. He's in such a better position this game. As we are just falling into the holding pattern and farming with Vikings about 3k ahead.
Yeah, that's quite a bit. And yeah, Shogun is insanely tanky for this stage of the game, especially because let's look back at the team composition. Enemy team, they do have quite a bit of AD damage, but at this point, their AD damage dealers haven't really scaled into their strongest form yet. So a lot of the damage comes from base damages and, of course, Levi, who's quite accelerated. So against Levi, he doesn't take any damage. He has early MR, he has a lot of HP, which isn't actually that great against Lilia, but he can tank Levi quite a bit. So right now, I think Vikings in a really strong position to teamfight if they ever get into a good enough state to force one.
Away on the run, gold carded up, CC chain, the shield is not going to be enough from B, as GAM do find something to do and claim themselves a kill.
Yeah, nice little dive, and they're gonna get the tower, so really good counterplay on the bot side. Nanaway, you really have to stop dying on the weak side. It's one of the biggest sins. When you know you're on the weak side, please just stay back and don't hug your tower, because it's not safe for you.
Another charge comes in, but Shogun so tanky, coming into the backside, lands the ult onto Lilia, and a huge Zyra ult as well. They'll clean Levi up immediately. Kiaya just has to evacuate, and it's a tower and a kill for 2 kills.
Oh.
And immediately they TP to stop the play on the other side. Shogun coming in from the side can land a hook onto Kiaya, just goes for the flash auto, wants to make it really damaging. Nanaway in so much trouble, does go down, but Shogun answers back well. Easy Love locked up for now. Needs to move forward. I don't know the cooldown on the hook at this point, but I don't think Easy Love will be going anywhere with Guri arriving and taking him down.
What a confidence play from Vikings. This was against their own tempo, against their own macro, where they didn't want to expose any of their towers, but they knew they had 4 kills in their side, and they get all 4 of them. Okay, they lose 1 member on the way, and Nanaway dies twice, once in bot and once in mid, but in the end they walk away with a 4k gold advantage and a lot of gold secured for some of the important members, especially Kati, I believe. So really, really nice counterplay from Vikings. I think this whole sequence was well played from both teams. A little bit of an overstay for GAM, and obviously not the best movement from Nanaway, but apart from his individual mistakes, impressive counterplay from the side of Vikings.
Absolutely, and they want to close the trap. Let's see how they played it out.
Yeah, just overstayed from GAM. They should have known that Vikings can capitalize on their insane movement, and especially CC. Look at Levi, he's the fastest champion in the game and he can't move 1 step because there's a Nautilus, there's the Zyra, and of course there's a Senna. So CC for ages, and then GAM tries to just get 2 towers on the other side of the map, but overstays a little bit too. Nanaway, well, I mean, now that we know the outcome, maybe you can argue he's a sacrificial lamb.
Hello. We've come back to life with a dead Kartik. And a dead
another overstay. So now the teams are getting a little bit sloppy with their execution on when to rotate out of the maps, out of the lanes. They try to push in because Karti just, he just stayed in mid lane too long. Not great for the side of Vikings because the next dragon is coming up and they wanted to snowball the dragons. They're still trying to fight for positioning because Karti is up in 12 seconds. But if GAM just goes 5 members deep into dragon, they should be able to just stop the dragon snowball right now.
Yeah, but with GAM in this early position, Vikings can afford to give this one up. Chemtech Soul, of course, not the most valuable of souls ever. Of course, he'd still like it. Shogun, so powerful, landing a hook, but it's only onto Elio, who goes in onto Guri. So much damage immediately. Seta can only buy a moment of time. That's a disaster for Vikings. Karti wants to even it up onto Lebo, but can't do it. Nanahue has been taken down as well. Only traded to Elio. This is a complete disaster for the Vikings. Just being cleaned out. Shogun needs to
from the other side.
Kiaya. TF bolts into the backside. Finally cleaned up Shogun. Only Karti and B left, and GAM have found their way back in.
And Baron just spawned. Are they brave enough to challenge for the Baron? I think they're a little too low on HP. They do have 3 ADCs. They might have the damage, actually. And Lilia can tank Baron for quite a while. I kind of liked the Baron play there, but in the end, it's just too aggressive. Vikings trying to play against their numbers disadvantage, but it's just... Whenever that happened, that wasn't the fight we were looking at. I think this happened before the fight, potentially. But yeah, in the end, the Vikings just a bridge too far. They they played it over aggressively. A little bit of the VCS, the old VCS spirit, just came back to them, and now they need to think back to all their training, to all the many hours of Hanke screaming at them to play better macro, and just remember how they did it in the early stages of the game, because now, while they're still in an advantageous position, it's much closer than it should have been.
Yeah, also got to remember, B still scaling. Haven't had a soul check-in in a little while. But does have that Edge of Night completed, as well as the anti-heal sword. Love to see how many souls he has, because he will become a monster.
Yeah. This is not on live patch, I believe. So this is not on 17, where Senna is going to be changed to be unrecognizable to any Senna main, unfortunately. But this is still the old Senna. In my opinion, support Senna, if you build her this way, is not the biggest late game menace. She's strong, but she's not going to scale into a hyper carry. But she's definitely going to give your team a lot of advantages with the shielding and healing and all the control.
Hook onto Elio, a lot of chunking, and the Alistar ult burnt immediately. Elio needs to make a play now. Lily ult as well. Guri taking a lot of damage. Does manage to get the ultimate down, but will die for it. Elio so low, but not dead. Nanahue unable to have an impact. Shogun surfs into the backside, but it will be to his doom. Karti is still alive, but can't participate in the fight, and GAM get a 2-for-1. They're just team fighting better.
Yeah, Nanahue is just completely lost in this game, unfortunately. They need their top laner to do something, but 2 team fights in a row, he was just walking around trying to find the angle and didn't do anything. The team fight of the dragon as well, he didn't really find a good ultimate here. He didn't even get into form in time, so they're playing 4v5 and it's really hurting them. 85 nice engage souls, onto Guri. Sorry, come again?
85 souls on the center. Just wanted to get a check-in.
It's definitely decent. 20 minutes, 80 is kind of what you really want to achieve, but it's really hard and competitive, especially in this kind of game where laning phase ends so early. So 85 for 22 is more than on par for really strong late game scaling.
Looking over at the GAM side, we do have Emo 4-1-4 on this Corki, looking extremely powerful. Easy love 3 and 2, but has been farming pretty much uninterrupted for quite some time now. So it has 2 completed items, a very strong point in the game for the Ezreal.
Yeah, double mana immune plus Trinity completed is such an amazing spot for GAM. They want to take any fight they can get right now. Levi also, even though he's 0-3, he is quite strong right now. He's actually stronger than Zyra, I'd say, even though Zyra has 3 kills to her name. He's just been able to control the battlefield much better than I anticipated looking at this composition. So maybe they need to invest a little bit more of their attention onto this deer that's hopping around and just getting on top of Guri fight after fight. So maybe Shogun just needs to be bodyguard for his jungler, not his ADC.
It's so difficult when you have Elio, who can essentially just play suicide lead, go in, land anything onto Guri, and then Zyra just does simply not have a button to press that stops that Swirl Seed follow-up into the Lilia ult, and once that's all played out, there's just nothing that is going to keep you alive. So Elio so far has been the quiet hero of 2 games for me.
Yeah, Alistair back-to-back, and they're really struggling to deal with this engages, and especially the tide-turning Qs in some of the team fights. I question Guri's itemization choice. Yeah, he's going for the statistically best builds, most control, strongest overall damage output and CC. But in this game, it really looks like he should have maybe went for an early Zhonya's, because he's under pressure so much, and they're just capitalizing on him not having any defensive tools. So I feel like maybe the Zhonya's has to come in soon.
Does make sense, as Shogun is caught out, very tanky, but can they actually save him in time? They've got 5 cutting down the tree, and they can do it. He's now missing with Baron and a dragon on the map. Kiaya ulting behind the Vikings. Oh no. Guri getting chained down. Lovely flash to get away from that watch out E. Does only buy him a couple of seconds though, as B has to do it all. Carty as well, getting it done, but can't quite finish. But now B with a lot of health. And GAM with very little should be able to zone them off any objectives.
B is trying to find the angle.
Sneaky, but that's an Ezreal with an Essence shift. I don't think you can do this. Does land the W. Kiaya has a stun card your way. He's coming, but backs off.
Actually, if B gets his Q there, he can kill Kiaya with Q auto attack, I think. But in the end, it's a dragon for GAM, but surprisingly close team fight. Once again, Nanahue did absolutely nothing. He arrived as a small Gnar. So he just needs to find a way into this game, because if he ever manages to get into teamfight as Mega Gnar and get a good ultimate, I think they win the teamfight easily, because this is what happens when he's essentially not a champion. By the way, the Shogun against Elio trade looks advantageous for GAM, but essentially it's even, because now Elio's on, I don't know, 1/3 HP and doesn't have ultimate, so he's not really a champion either. He just dies instantly to Nanahue here. 2 more auto attacks. But yeah, this is all the Gnar does. He kills the support that's already out of the fight, so he doesn't really achieve anything. He used his flash. He didn't make it to his mega form. He is the one weak point right now on Vikings team, and he really needs to find a way into the series, because so far he's been lacking in both games, and GAM is just generating advantage after advantage through their topside lead.
That they are, and it's not going to get easier. He's built Steric's Gauge as well. I mean, statistically, not a good item, but might just be what he needs. A little bit more survival chance to get into that Mega Gnar, but Vikings are just going to start Baron. I think this was a Hail Mary. They have that Zyra. If GAM doesn't check, Zyra kills it so quickly, and they can just back off. Very little invested.
Yep. A nice little attempt. You can just try, maybe the enemy team sleeps on your positioning a little bit, and then you get away with the Baron for free. B just picked up the 3 more assaults. I think he's probably approaching 120 at this point, which is really quite a lot. He has a lot of range, and they're trying again. A good thing about this composition is they have the very healthy Baron. As you can see, Baron barely does anything to them. And they force Kiaya's ultimate. Kiaya trying to find the angle on Nanahue again.
Finds Nanahue, but now Nanahue has actually managed to get Kiaya very far out of position. Will go Mega to save himself. Maybe Vikings can do something in this corridor. Nautical Assault gets a couple of pop-ups. But no, they will just back off. It was just mission save Nanahue.
Okay. They do get quite a few tools out of GAM. They got ultimate from Kiaya, they got his ghost as well, and I think the teleport from Emo. So not as much side lane play available now for the side of GAM, which is very, very good for Vikings.
Cardi also has finished his IE. He finished it a minute or so ago. Huge completion.
Yeah, and I said earlier, Cardi has not been beaten on this champion so far in VCS Summer, so maybe he's the one tool the Viking needs to get out of this hole they've kind of dug themselves into throughout the whole of the series already. We're 30 minutes in, and not really closer to seeing who's going to win game number 2.
No, we are not. It is still on a knife's edge. The gold at this point, largely irrelevant, only 1,000 between them at 30 minutes. And it is the Baron dance, the Baron tango. Guri, obviously always so threatening. Zyra can take it so quickly if she enrages those plants.
And she's so annoying to deal with, especially as a champ on a champ like Lilia, where you're used to just walking around with 500 plus movement speed, and then you get slowed down to 200 and just cursing at your screen because it's so annoying. Look at all these plants. That's a decent attempt. Levi has sniffed it out though. There's the pink ward. Are they going to try and force the issue here? There?
Half health. Ooh, that's a big tree shot barrage.
Yeah,
that's back off because B wasn't close enough to actually get any healing down. Levi could find something here. A swirl seed into an ult, but doesn't manage to get it over the wall. So Vikings are able to get out.
Yeah, Guri needs to regenerate some HP. Tries to do it from afar. Actually gets that camp as well, so he's back to like half HP at least. Can approach the Baron. Now he doesn't really have the plant setup around the Baron that he used to have, and now it's GAM's turn to maybe look at this Baron and have a go.
Book was close onto Easy Love, doesn't quite get it. The Essence Shift is good. Guri has that Lilia dot. I don't think so. Too much peel available with that Nautilus and the center on top of him. And the 2 ADCs from Vikings are just going to threaten this mid lane and dare GAM. They're going to make GAM pull the trigger.
Oh, Elliot actually called out. He might have. Yeah, he had ulted already.
Yeah,
this support is probably dead.
Yeah, he is going to go down.
The flash
fails the flash as well. Did get the Nautilus ult. The Nautilus ult is important. They're going to struggle to lock down Lilia now. They don't have the point and click CC.
They do have a lot of poke over the wall though. Shogun bravely just takes the plant. Okay, he's super tanky. Kiaya from the other side, look at all that poke. Guri needs to get away from that gold card.
Lovely E out of the center here, making it so that Kiaya can't really click on anyone. And he just ults back to mid lane. There's a huge lane in bottom side that Vikings is missing out on though. There's an enormous amount of gold just kind of dropped on the floor, and probably a tower dropping.
There it is. Neither team really wanted to go towards Dragon. Now there's a little bit of time for Vikings maybe to solo the Dragon if Zyra dares to try it. No, she doesn't. So this might be actually the 3rd Dragon in a row for the side of GAM if Vikings can't muster defense on the bottom side.
It is a 3rd, but of course Chemtech not doing a huge amount for a lot of the members of GAM. Elio perhaps an exception. So I don't think Vikings is too concerned, but they do need to figure this out. They do need to figure out their actual win condition here, because so far, everything seems to just be bouncing off. 125
souls. Itemization choice there. Guri picking up the shroud thingy. What's it called again?
Verdant barrier.
Right. So now actually upgrading it. So he does have a little bit of spell immunity. I still think the Zhonya's would have been the more consistent choice. Now he can just be poked. And I think this can actually be deactivated with Kiaya's ultimate, if I remember correctly. So it doesn't actually protect him from anything, really, if Kiaya plays it right. And they could even lure him into a false sense of security. I've seen this before, where you deactivate and stagger the CC right after. And then Guri thinks he's safe because he has the Veil, but the Veil is actually deactivated by Kiaya's ultimate. So I really disagree with this choice here.
Another hook landing onto Elio. He's in trouble, has to ult. So this Alistair made much less effective. They use the Nautilus ult again, and B takes a huge amount of damage there. Whipped in with the poke. I feel like we have to stop Nautilus ulting Alistair.
Oh, we can actually see the soul count for a second. 1 of 33. He is really getting strong. Unfortunately, of course, on support income doesn't really have money to go with those souls, but he's gonna get super strong if the game goes on for 10 more minutes. If he gets to 200 souls, money doesn't really matter too much.
Very true. Perhaps that's the win condition. It's the 4,000 souls win con. Guri gets his bubble popped by that Ezreal. And Shogun is just looking for a hook, but he needs to... We're hitting them really good onto Elio. We need to start hitting them good onto someone else.
Well, the game has really slowed down because both teams are... They know if they engage first, they lose. This is one of those compositions, kind of like the last game as well. Whenever Zyra is on the map, it's kind of like that, because Zyra is just such an amazing counter-engaged champion and such a horrific engaged champion. So whenever Zyra is there, just any part of the game, that neither team really wants to engage. So yeah, we're just waiting for one of the teams to make an error or maybe find an amazing catch on someone. We're not really utilizing side lanes enough. Nanoware now and... Oh, Shogun is in.
Oh, Shogun has been caught out a little bit. He went in
with
an amazing Lily ult. Yeah, Kiaya goes low, but I don't know what's going to matter as Shogun has been claimed. B taken incredibly low. Kiaya does go down, but it's traded back by Emo. Nanoware moving forward, but can't actually get anything done. Guri, you have the world to beat. And he's not up to the task. Does get one on his way out. Easy love, last man standing in the battlefield.
9 dead after this teamfight. What is going on today? Everyone just keeps on dying in these teamfights because it's so close. They do have an ADC left, so this might be an inhibitor. We do have 20 seconds on Shogun. Is it enough time for an inhibitor? Maybe just the tower. But yeah, Shogun grabs the minion. That was a bridge too far. Now he gets, he has to flash back. He does live for a surprisingly long time. And Kati, look at Kati. He really tried to get on top of Emo and Kiaya. He misses lethal there, probably didn't crit. If he crits Kiaya, he might be able to kill Emo because Kiaya can't stun him then. So Kati is really on the verge of winning this team fight on his own. Unfortunately, doesn't crit there, and in the end, Guri doesn't have the damage to kill both EasyLove and Corki. But yeah, it is not over yet. And the inhibitor keeps standing. I thought so. It's just the tower. So in the end, no objective. All the objectives remain on the map. Everyone died, and let's have a look at the flashes. There's only a flash available for EasyLove. Okay, Elio has this too. But
Don't forget about it.
Nanoware on that side. And Shogun, look at his summoner spells. They're cooking something up here. They're waiting for GAM to go for Soul Point with double smite on the Baron. Yep, there it is.
Yeah, I think it's a good decision, that unsealed spellbook. Going big for Shogun, has snuck into this bush. I don't think they know he's there. They will now with that swell seed, of course. Elio, a little bit spotted out. This is just so difficult here for the Vikings to play. Everything on a knife's edge. It just comes down to who is Levi tagging, who is taking that nap.
Really nice from GAM to actually realize what was going on.
Lovely hook onto Levi, caught out of the watch out E, and immediately blown up. Elio following him to the grave, and the Vikings have found it out of nowhere. It's Shogun tonight.
Oh, Vikings are going to rush Baron S5. They are going to give up the soul. I don't think they can make it to the soul. Nanoware is actually trying to get back there. Viking now realizing they should have maybe sent some people to the soul, but it's too late. Soul traded for Baron, but a huge teamfight victory for Vikings, and they need to do something with this Baron buff. They need to get the mid inhibitor, I think, and maybe try to get top lane advantage. Huge mistake from Levi, getting caught out there. Shogun dancing on him, and finally they win a team fight decisively.
Massive
mistake
there, and Shogun capitalizing perfectly on that one moment of indecision from GAM. As you said, though, they need to do something with this Baron. Long term, the soul is, of course, better. That said, Chemtech Soul, I've said it a couple of times, I don't think it's the largest prize in the world, but you'd certainly rather have it than not.
Yeah, Chemtech Soul is one of those interesting souls that's very different for different compositions. If you have a lot of tanky members with a lot of healing, innate healing, it's actually amazing. Like on champions like Renekton, it's crazy strong. But on squishies, you die so quickly, it doesn't really make that big of a difference. It's kind of the same as Ocean Soul in that regard. It's very similar, actually, with how champions scale with the Chemtech Soul. Elio, once again,
Elio
way
in
too
a
far.
lot of trouble. Has to burn the ultimate immediately. Levi is there to back him up, but can he actually escape to the rest of GAM? He has to burn the flash. Nunaway able to build bar off him. GAM needs to be really careful. They could be walking into the jaws of a big Gnar play. The hook will miss from Shogun, and Vikings don't want to risk it all.
Due to the soul that he lived there. So actually a little bit of a demonstration of how well it can help tanky champions, because 11% less damage once you're sub 50% HP is quite a bit of damage reduction. But in the end, it's still Alistair without ultimate and flash. So he, even though he lives, does he really? Is he a useful champion?
What kind of life is it? Like, you step on a landmine and sometimes you live, but are you really living?
Exactly. That is quite a dark comparison, let's say.
Welcome back to VCS English, everyone.
I didn't expect that one.
As Vikings are sieging up in the mid lane, they take that tower. They should be able to get the inhibitor as well. They're in a lovely
really nice decisive play. Vikings they secured Baron and knew they had to do something with the Baron, so it's 2 inhibitors in their sides. Can they get the second inhibitor? This one is the one where GAM might want to make a stand. It's quite hard, though. You can see how quickly this turret goes down. Send that ultimate to secure a little bit of an advantage in terms of HP. Can they attack the inhibitor too? It's now open inhibitor, and look at the range from B!
Yeah, he is a howitzer. He is attacking from different coordinates.
I'm really impressed with how decisively Viking is playing this sequence here.
Don't think they can end the game here. They've certainly pressured it. 2 inhibs is a good result. I think they can just back off, go for a reset. Oh, don't block each other too much.
After 40 minutes, they have finally secured a really strong advantage in this game. It took a long, long while. And despite the best efforts of Nunaway, his team is still winning.
Harsh. As a hook onto Easy Love, but is buffered. Now Shogun in so much trouble, uses the ultimate trying to get out of there. They changed it onto the back. Emo going down. Levi in the backside. Already gone gold. He's in so much trouble. Take it down. They finally kill off Shogun, but he has done his job as Cardi is going hog wild on the Zeri.
Cardi is so insanely strong in this game. Did you see him dominate the teamfight? He played unbelievably aggressively. He positioned like a tank, but dealt damage like a hypercarry, and he's still full HP.
Yeah, this is a very, very difficult situation now for GAM. They have so much sustain on Vikings from B. It's so much range. What can Kiaya even really do about it? Look at the damage. Guri getting touched up as well, but a lovely ultimate. They do clean up Kiaya. They do clean up a second Nexus Tower. It would only be a miracle to stop us equalizing the series as B has gone crazy. And this is why Shogun plays the Nautilus half.
Yeah, it might look ridiculous that the support player plays Senna, but he is a really good Senna player, and Shogun is quite a good farming player, so he just plays whatever his team needs to farm, and honestly, Shogun, of course, can figure out how to play Nautilus in a game. So there we go. That is game number 2 for Vikings, and what a series we have here today. We have just seen 2 40-minute games back-to-back, and we're back to square even, 1-1 in game score, and both teams just look like they're honestly very evenly matched.
And you're